Hey guys, how are you? So this particular crypto clip that I did last has provoked a fair amount of response. Some of it quite negative, some of it reasonably positive, but it has certainly grabbed. It certainly rubbed some folk up the wrong way. So a couple of things I want to highlight here. Most people do not know how to trade markets correctly. And in spite of an incredibly expansive underlying, like the Bitcoin that we're looking on in this particular view, on this particular video, they destroy value with the decisions they make. So in actual fact, even though I am not for blind hodls, many people get their best performance out of just being blind, throw it in the bottom drawer, forget hodls. Why? Because money is actually made in the sitting when you're in a good position in the first place. And in many people who don't have the timing, as long as they get the macro time right, Bitcoin expands, wait a decade, I'll be fine. They do really well. The unique opportunity is if and when you know how to make selective trade ideas, you quantum leap accelerate that if you use it judiciously and smart in an underlying market like this that is already a high beta market, then you will absolutely multiply your gains and do far better sooner, even with the occasional mistake. The big if and the big thing that stumps everybody is you have to have a concept and a method of how to trade. And I have done for you in this series, the video notes you'll see both on this YouTube clip and on others. The very first one with the free Apple from Teacher. So Teacher's bringing you the possible student, and that's not elevating myself. I'm just saying we've got a method. We discuss some details. Free trading course. Go and watch it. You don't have a bean. You don't want to spend any money with me? Fine. Here's a gift for you. Go watch it. Go enjoy it. You will have takeouts. It will make you better in understanding. And we don't say what everyone else says, that trading is easy. Otherwise, actually, everybody would be winning it. However, with a few key places where you do not step on landmines, we keep you out of the main landmine fields, you get to survive. And a couple of key points that you can do positively for yourself without spending a single penny, you will enjoy that mini series and get something out of it. It's in the notes again on this YouTube. Go and watch it. Let's go back to Bitcoin. So this was the YouTube that prompt. What did some of the people say? Let's go through, because I don't always go through comments on YouTube. It's not something I typically do. I have a look and I read them and I sometimes reply to them just to get a feel of what you guys are thinking. But here, let's have a look at a few that I just selected and pasted out. I've avoided where people have just used individual names. I've done that where they've given full names. I'm not wanting anyone to feel doxed. So this is not directed at the individual. It's about what was said. Generally, it could have come from Mr. X, Mr. A, B, C, whatever. So someone with a first name Michael won't break the 10K again. Still in the bull pennant. RSI newly hit the single digits. I am going to do a free view. It goes into my premium course on indicators, and I will release that slice as an example of what our self-study content looks like. This doesn't include our sniper circle, our community, and everything else that goes with your program and the webinars and all of that. But I will do, and I'll make that freely available on my take on RSI and indicators, and how when someone comes out at me with an RSI argument, unfortunately for that person, I have a certain level that I rate their technical analysis at, and it's not particularly high. And you might say, but the Technical Analyst Society this, and they have indicators, and RSI is the most used. You can tell me all of that. I can tell you, wait for that video. It's an absolute waste of time, in my opinion. And it's been proven, and I've traded exceedingly successful without it. Indicators are overbought, oversold, typically of basis. RSI is the classic one. It is a mathematical formula on price behavior. It is smoothing it out, and it is lagging. It is so many reasons of wrong. I can't even get to start. There will be a separate, it needs its own, bury it deep and once and for all. The people selling shovels to the miners, got rich selling them shovels made with balsa wood and polystyrene. And you are going out prospecting for gold in hard soil with your polystyrene and balsa wood shovel called RSI, and a few others as well. I will deal with that separately. By the way, my comment is it already broke 10K on the down leg. So let's just get out of the big time frame view, and people were talking about it on this view, and it ran 9.8. My apologies, 9.8. I'm changing time frame here, already at that low. So I'm afraid he's already been inaccurate with that down leg, and his comment caught up with him. What else were the guys saying? So take an RSI monthly and the past trend, you will see. RSI tells you nothing. It's a smooth lagging version that roughly emulates the price behavior. The price behavior is the dog. The RSI is the tail. The tail never wags the dog. The change in price wags the tail. And that is the dog, the price behavior. Is that 6K in pounds? Because BTC will never go below 8,500. Never say never. I avoid the use of the word never. What you're actually doing is you're putting a block in your mind. You're putting a block in your mind. Never say you will have your bits chopped off and become a transgender striptease artist. I really don't think I'm going to do that, but I'm still going to avoid saying never. The problem with never is you're blocking off part of your mind to possibility, and all things have a probability and a possibility. In that one example, I'm going to give you 0 and 9 zeros before you get your first 1%, but anything could potentially be possible. Moscone, what are you smoking, man? Terrible TA. Terrible TA is the TA, the technical analysis you least want to hear. The obstacle is usually the way. Something in your mind without a rational argument that is terrible means it's something you don't want to hear. That means it's probably something you want to face, and it represents a fear. So it actually has very little to do with my TA and everything to do with other people's mindset. It's amazing. Comments reflect more about yourself and your mindset, good and bad, of course, than it actually ever reflects about the person you're commenting on. And how you elect to choose yourself are entirely decisions you've made. Dumbest prediction I've seen on YouTube so far, you're usually okay, so what's up? Don't you see what's happening out there? He has vision, the other man does not. Or you have other motives to make this kind of video. Yes, he's bust me. I do YouTubes to get you guys to sell all your BTC at key moments so that I can buy them up cheap. I'm trying to storm the market with my 20K subs. That's probably a small fraction, given that BTC is largely held by whales. I'm pretty dumb with my conspiracy theory of trying to flush you out of your BTC, guys. Sorry, but I have been caught out. Okay, thank you for that. XRP breaks. I would not short Ripple, as any break up will be random. It's never bound. It's never breaking down. It's being supported beyond TA. This is the other thing I get a lot. Technical analysis doesn't work in crypto. There are forces that are beyond TA. I've had it in FX when central banks intervened on the euro Swiss franc. I saw the intervention at 1.5. I shorted it. They eventually walked from it. It fell below parity. They then set a peg at 1.2. TA doesn't work when central banks are involved, I heard. You're a fool. Technical analysis. Technical analysis captures all price behavior activity by all players. It doesn't ask, are you a massive government official with deep pockets or a small little squidgen of a person with a $1,000 MT4 trading account retail or 0.3 zeros and 1 Satoshi of Bitcoin. All participants that participate in that market are considered the same, and their weight and scale will leave footprints in the sand regardless of what their intentions are, whether they are official or not. If it trades through the market and they are buying and selling through that market, that activity will have its effect in the market and it can be tracked. Elephants leave tracks too. In fact, they leave big tracks. Okay, so TA doesn't work in crypto. I'm afraid it does. It's been one of the best TA markets of them all. And bad news, Ripple did break what we called our grind line. So he was referring to Ripple. It can't go any lower. Never. There's forces beyond TA. Let's show you that. We've done this for a while. You'll probably know from history that I've not been a particularly big fan of Ripple technically, and there's why. There's our grind line that we drew. Straight after, very shortly after that video was done, it smashed right through it. Want to see it a bit better on a logarithmic scale? There's that grind along the lows that was supposed to be inevitably supported. Last 2 weeks, it's sold right off. It actually traded into our funnel of support 23770 and will run through that, I suspect, but it will churn for a bit for a while and be supported. This was an upside structure that we got that led to the first spike. Every successive spike, given that these guys are releasing coins almost like a perpetual ICO, every successive spike has got smaller. That was the initial spike. That was the next spike. And here's the next. I'm not even counting these. And this is what's happened since. Yes, there was a bit of protection. You got a hammer there. It's not strong. My big ass trade to you guys are both with Ethereum. Remember, Ethereum wasn't supposed to run. Ethereum wasn't supposed to run below certain lows. So let's have a look at Ripple against BTC. And this is going to bring me to the dominance question again. And no matter how many times I go for stating that dominance is the meme and has been for a long time, that whilst you wait, and I'm going to come back to that Bitcoin prediction that I made because a lot of people misconstrued it and what we're saying about Bitcoin. We assess Bitcoin is going to rally to the 11K. I will go through it when we get to the Bitcoin chart and then sell off potentially to the sub 7s into a number with the 6 where we would expect it may get support. This was not supposed to be run to the downside. They tried to defend it. This was XRP Bitcoin. It was never going to get lower. Remember, we called shorts up top here for this and said it's a set and forget and leave. They tried to defend it there. It failed. It was never supposed to run that. You're saying it'll never run that. Maybe you're saying it'll never run that. I'm afraid never say never. Even though you might think you'll never get your bits chopped off, you never truly know. And I will tell you, this is more likely than that event I'm describing. Okay, so here we go. How low has it been? Actually, you don't have to go too far to see that it was 14 Satoshis. 14 Satoshis, it's over 2,550 now. Lots of potential gain to be had in the Bitcoin dominance game. You're probably saying, but no. What about Ethereum? I had the same with Ethereum. We were exceedingly bullish, bullish Bitcoin against Ethereum, bearish Ethereum against Bitcoin. We had very similar things. So let's go have a look at this USD. Wow, that's a busy chart. You're not even going to battle with, you're going to battle with that. Kind of a falling wedge there now. But the big thing is we're expecting Bitcoin to go up. Let's do Bitcoin and then put everything in context. I'm kind of doing it the wrong way around. Let's do Bitcoin. Okay, so here you go. This is your Bitcoin. This is the level that so many say we cannot revisit. We did a volume buy price for you. Since getting up that 3.2 level, when you first came up, I'll throw the volume by price again for you on this. This is quite advanced. We do this in detail in our premium. You're getting a little look-see about what goes on here. All the lines will come marching back on. It's fine. Let me just make this point. Okay, so that's volume by price since the 3.2 when we first made it above. I'm actually going to pull this across to get the first candle that crossed 3.2 from there. It's maybe one candle too far, that one, the one there. Okay, so you can see the support, real volume by price built up and accumulated there. Let's make this big. This is still in log scale. Remember, guys, I'm taking you through log scale. This is the next big area, the 70% zone since this 3,000, since we first crossed 3,000. Let's do this. Draw it nicely, draw it nicely. Get the pen out, draw it nicely. Let the guys see, Francis. Let him see, mate. Let him see. Seeing is believing. Ask NASA. So here we go. There we go. So first time you're above the 3,000 on this candle over here, you have a real chunk of volume by price that set up our first upside HVF in a new trend, which gave overperformance that led to us getting up here. Remember, you weren't much over 3K, you were 3.2 at those lows. You ran all the way through to 13.7, guys. 13.7. How greedy are you that you think it owes you more when the run up to 20K was the single biggest .com moon pump you've ever had? I've said already before that I suspect this will all be one giant continuation, and you will be rewarded if you're patient. This is all one giant continuation pattern. But guess what? Inside that, there are seasons. There are seasons, and the message is going to ring very true to similar to the previous one, and I don't want to just do an ad repeat. Look at this scale of volume, equivalent to here, with two equally big right here. A little bit hollowed out here, then again a little build up. That is your 70% of all volume since 3K to 20. This is thin air town. Real thin air. And you're in it right now. There's thin air up there. You're going to need a real surge and real power, real reasons to take it beyond and run out that top. That was about as bullish as everyone and about as mania as everyone's ever been. And you're not getting easily through that until we have and it'll be driven by the reset sniper, what's going on in this absolute messed up real world of ours, and it will in fact be driven by that. Let me just zoom out a tiny squidgen. I'm so in your face. And for that to happen, I see this coming, and that's why you hear the 27K and the potential to overperform to that. So people say, it went well past 27. Yes, it could, but that's where I'd take some profits on my leveraged hands. My investment would stay long. So that is all coming for you. But first, what about where we're likely to bottom out? Either you come all the way down to 3. I don't think so, because the world has changed. There's more dollars around there. This is a bit hollowed out. I don't anticipate you stop here. So this is the area we're saying you're stopping. And this is provoking everybody. Not everybody. That's not true. Some of you are appreciating it. But that's provoking a lot of people. They don't really want any down. You only want sunshine. You want 6 months of sunshine, but you know what? You then pay for that with 6 months of night. Then you go live in Iceland if that's what you want. The element of this is that markets have a true cycle. Oh, but Bitcoin's different. It doesn't have TA doesn't apply. It only can go up. Wrong, wrong, wrong. I've been around enough markets. It's not different. It's higher beta, it's a lot of things, etc. There are nuances, but it involves people with their money, and they go through fear and greed, and there's good season, and there's good reason, there's good mood news, there's other aspects that support it and then undermine it. These things all happen just like all markets in all places. So that's where that 6K comes in. Then everyone says, but you said 6K, but it's going up right now. We didn't say that it's going to go straight to 6K. That's not what we said. In actual fact, initially, we were looking at this, and the falling wedge that you see here in blue, let's put it on the 4-hourly and squeeze it across. The falling wedge that you're seeing here in blue is actually an upside continuation pattern break. You would expect continuation. You got a nice, what we call base plating move. So if I draw a little bit more neatly, because my freehand sucks, you essentially got that as your base plate. There, nice little double bottom. Double bottom target, failure. I drew it for you. There's your neckline. Check it out. Failure. When pattern fails, it means something. Yeah, it means something. When pattern fails, it means something. You neither left shoulder, double head, right shoulder. It's failed. It's failed. It came right back down there to 9. There is no reversal there. There is no reversal pattern there. So 1, that's an upside pattern that didn't work. You went up in a channel grind. This is what I illustrated. And the only point you accelerated is the beginning of the end of the channel move, which is typical, which usually points to everyone is now buying and thinking it's a new bull, but there's not really any power. You pop out the top of the channel and then you fall out the low of it. You get your first inverted structure and you sell off. And that's exactly what it was and how it happened. So there it is. You're going up in a channel. You pop out there on the assumption of ever higher highs. And also the technical break that occurred there on the key level of significance, the round number, 11K. And then you went fast. You then exhausted up top here. You never made this target at all. You had a slap in the face sell. You had an ascending inverted HVF, and you had overperformance to the downside. You ran your 10K and you sat right down here at 9.5, where you would have built up high levels of volume by price on that period, and a little bit on that period, and a little bit on that period. So that is your current zone of support. How fast did this come down? So let's be clear what we're saying to everybody. How fast did this come down? How fast did it come down? Well, actually, it chucked it down. This was a potential for continuation in the falling wedge, but it only went up in channel format, apart from when it was ending, and it popped out the channel before breaking the channel. You'll see that lower channel was broken there. So it channeled its way up, but it absolutely peed off the roof on the way down. Look at that selling right the way down into that hammer. What are you doing now? You're in a channel again, battling and grinding your way up at this gradient rate. Like that. But you came down from these points like that. The sell-offs are happening quicker. This period here was absolutely brutal. It was part of it. Our target was made. Our overperformance bands were clearly in place and was made. And if you weren't out here, you would have got out there. And now you're in a channel to the upside. So what did we say in that clip? First 11K, what's happened? You've touched the 11K and you've sold off. I would imagine you'd come maybe down one more time, maybe a falling wedge, go back up. You're going to get above 11K. You might try pop out the channel, which will be the beginning of the end. You'll go a little higher, which is why we said 11.2s to 11.5s. Somewhere around here, you top out. You do not run that funnel. You might get into it, but you do not run it. In other words, above 12,000, I start to say, we could be wrong. You want to know how we be wrong? We always ask, at what point are we wrong? There's always a price level. You get above 12,010 and this scenario is wrong. And that's a fact. It's not something I back away from. You can put there. Go on the YouTube comments. Aha, you were wrong. If that's your thing. We're scenario casting, it's not forecasting. Then another scenario applies. We have other scenarios. We're just telling you our strongest. I can't give you every single scenario we have, but this is our most likely. And this comes from the top on the macro. And you watch that mini series in the link below. You will learn how the macro determines your direction. You need to do macro charting on the weekly and on. I showed you the 3000K selling wick. I showed you the 2 shooting stars. And one of the second one we're currently writing right now. And we're already in 20 days out of 30 done. It's 2/3 complete and it's still compliant. And that is to the downside, guys. It's to the downside for me on the macro. Can I be 100% sure? No. But am I going to do cut my bits off and be a transgender stripper? It's not very likely. I would say I'm almost as sure about that. Not quite, 90%, but not, never saying never. So it's quite a strong scenario that I'm putting forward, and this is further complying to it because it's grinding up. You think, and this is what happens. Guys look at this and they said, it's already trading up, you're wrong, your trade's bad. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's exhausting itself. It's exhausting itself in its bid to get through the 12Ks into the 13 levels where it's been slapped in the face properly every time it's gotten there. Yeah? It's starting to get like Conor McGregor. You know, it can't even knock an old man out in the pub anymore. The guys are just wearing it and going, is that the best you got? Who the fuck are you? That's what's happening. It's exhausted. It's done. It's had a bit too much coke already. A little bit too much to drink already. It's going to have a recycle back down and freshen up, in this opinion of mine. And I looked at this many times. By the time I broadcast here, I'm saying to you. So what happens to the alts is the question during this period. Well, we never fully got the clean out I felt we've always deserved. They need properly downward rating. There's a lot of garbage on there, and there's going to be a clean out, in my opinion. There's going to be some form of a clean out. So where does this leave us with dominance? Do you understand the scenario now? Some of the comments I'm getting on my Twitter feed is like, yeah, well, you know, it's going up, you're wrong. It is meant to go up. It's meant to go up and exhaust. What do I expect it does next? Let's finish on this. What do I expect it does next? And as I say, go watch that mini series. You need to understand probability. I'm not certainty, but probability. And you need to understand all the different multiple time frames of analysis and how you go about building your scenario cast. And there's so much more in it. Just watch it. It's free. It costs you nothing. It will be delivered to your email. White label the email and watch it. So what happens? We get up to this level over here. And that was done for all the people that said, we have no money, we can't afford your course, help us get better so that one day we can come on. We're doing all we can to roll the boat out for you. It's up to you to go watch it. If you don't watch it, it means you don't really care. You're just in it for the thrills and spills. That means you're not wealth building through crypto, it's entertainment. And entertainment you always pay for. Yeah? Okay, so you may as well just investment hodl. You'll still get to the 27K. You just will get with the same amount of Bitcoin you always had. If you want to quadruple that in a single decision and maybe quadruple it again in another decision and over 4 decisions in the space of 2.5 years, that actually will not be difficult to make, actually have the better part of 20 times or 25 times more Bitcoin when it goes to 27K, watch the video. If you're happy with it going to 27K with your 3 Bitcoin, lock it up and forget and enjoy the entertainment value of this YouTube for what it is. So when we, and if we, because I can, as I've already said, be wrong, tap out somewhere in here. It could go into the funnel and just miss the stop that we've got here of our first inverted in a new trend, which made its target and overperformed. I would expect a fairly abrupt, again, sell-off. That will come quite low, and this time the 10K will be of interest. It may go below it again, but not run that very extreme hammer. That was high volatility period, That was real pissing off the roof pattern, as we like to say sometimes. That is strong. What comes next? A weaker grind, bear flag like, and then we sell off, in my opinion. That is my highest probability scenario. I'd say it's pretty high. We are giving it to you free. It's a view I share with my premium guys, and you can see it. What does this mean for the other coins? If we go down to that 6.5, remember, watch your bigger time frame. It keeps giving you perspective. It keeps giving you perspective right down to where we come, and it's no bad thing. It's no bad thing because if you got out at 11.5 and you're buying back at 6,000, you're getting 90% more Bitcoin. You'll have almost double Bitcoin. Let's say it touches just under the 12 and you can buy it at 6, you're getting 100%. You'll get, if you have 10 Bitcoin, you'll be going up with 18 in a single investment decision. That's all I'm saying. I'm not advising. I ain't an advisor. Not regulated, not anything. I'm telling you how I'm seeing it. And that's if it goes through there. Remember, it can overperform and spike a little through that. We're still in log scale here for now. That's why these are fatter than that. So I'll delog that so that you don't suffer from screen proportionality bias. Another thing you have to watch for. Another thing we inform and help you make sure that you don't just get a snapshot in your brain that you come to bad conclusions with. We are very snapshotty. You look at my face, you decide, terrible complexion, I don't like him. You look at my face and you decide, terrible, nice hairstyle, I love him. It's how we work. Anyway, so there we go. Down to these levels, and then my assessment, quite quiet and boring, a rally up. We come somewhere around the 9s, 9.5s, we drift off. Let's draw it. We've got the pen. Let's use it. Something like this. And I think I've already done this, but I needed to clear up this confusion. I think we get a third, casual, impulse, and then boring. And that's when everyone's going to go to sleep. It's going to look like it's meeting a level of acceptance and happiness. And it's going to be low vol, and everyone's going to be going, all the memes with, the guy with the stick poking Bitcoin for it to do something are going to be coming out. People are going to be getting bored. They're looking elsewhere. They're doing X, Y, and Z. And then suddenly we're going to have a kick. And then I think it's going to be very positive. So you will get positive, but not when you want it. And the problem is too many of you only know how to make money on the long side. Watch the mini series. You could have 2 double your Bitcoin events. You could have 4 double your Bitcoin events between now and when this move happens. You could have 4 double your Bitcoin events. Hear me again. Doesn't matter what the Bitcoin price is for now. Doesn't matter. You can have 4 double Bitcoin events. You could be getting in here. You could trim there and get back in there. And you could be leveraged for your trading account at this point. And that's when the leverage is going to really work for you. And what more can I say? What's going to happen to the alts? So let's finish. That's my scenario. And it's kind of, it hasn't changed a great deal from the previous video, but I needed to deal with everybody's misconstruing. Not everybody. I keep saying everybody. Most of you get it. It's not a couple of people's opinions is not an entire camp of people. But what is going to go on? So as I've already showed, XRP USD has already broken to the downside on its dollar. Yes, it's getting a little bit of a rally. I started with that. This was never supposed to happen according to some people. It's already happened. It's got a layer of support. It's got to run. I had the same elements of structure in Ethereum. It was never supposed to run that low. I'm going to hide some of those lines. It's too intense. It was never supposed to happen above that low. We had a funnel on the upside. We called Ethereum long at the time on this beautiful overperformance long. We just got to show you that again, but just to show you we aren't haters on that. Massive overperformance long. And then even that bounced and never ran its funnel. HVF method in action. That got a rally. Everyone said, you see, we're not running lower. It's going to go back up. No, it's not. Broke it. And it's come up here. It's run into that same resistance and it's gone back down. Little bit of a falling wedge. I think you could get another bump with the Bitcoin going up to 11.5, for example, or even close to 12, but not quite. And then you could have more peeling off. This level will be threatened, I suspect. That level will be threatened. Because if Bitcoin does go to 6 and is doing half, the alts are going to lose 75%. You saw it already. You saw it already in the previous bear. What are you doing hodling investment alts is my question. If you are doing that, wake up. Bitcoin dominance. What do we see on Bitcoin dominance? Bitcoin dominance is the meme. Most pauses has been continuation since the 2018 lows. Back again. Reiteration of things we've said before. This is more likely to be continuation. Yes, it's a bit steep. It's a little bit disproportionate. But this comes off a little bit, I'm thinking. And somewhere around here in the 69.80s, you get a push and you're back into the 72s. And I truly assess that if we do the 6,000 dip, this could end up not just in the 80s, mid 80s, we could get into the low 90s by the time it's all done. First, before you get some recover. Not saying it has to. I'm saying it's something you're not considering, and I think it's possible. But 80s, I would think, is highly probable. And we're only just crossed 70, something that was never supposed to happen. Bitcoin was just meant to lose its percentage stake in market cap during the crypto bull. So there is still a shakeout going on. You could put on small size and you could see XRP go right back down to 14 Satoshis where it's been before. I'm not saying, that's not a prediction, but that was a low point there, 14 Satoshis. I'm not saying it's going to 14 Satoshis, but the problem is it's most of the risk is to the downside here. Your two biggest other coin market caps are in trouble. They are the likes of, hold on, where's my coin market cap? Let's get it up. There she blows. They are all looking a little soft here, and they're all losing more. Ethereum down 2, XRP down 375. The short is a small size Bitcoin against any of the key alt majors. Generally, I like the top two for liquidity. But the only coin that's kind of been relatively strong and climbing the stack is Binance. It's not going to replace Bitcoin. It's not going to hold back the Bitcoin swing if these two are bleeding out to Bitcoin. Litecoin's had its halvening pump. It's lost 3% today. So Bitcoin, in spite of its halvening, can go to 6 and later go to 27K if the market's not right for it to happen. So I'm hoping that that's clear on where we stand. I think the two trades, and this is what I told my premium guys, and this is what you can have for free, are small. Don't choose your moment carefully. I think that Bitcoin dominance is going to ease first before it goes up higher. Get in, not at market, on a limit order against a weak top tier alt like the likes of Ethereum or Ripple, and hold it for a long time, and want for bearish things, because on your BitMEX account, if you've got your 10 Bitcoin, you will be able to hedge it with a BTC USD short when the moment comes. And in the meantime, you can accumulate little bits of BTC as Ripple and Ethereum continue to lose ground in the trend that's been since the beginning of 18 and is still holding now and could run you deep into the 80s, possibly in an exceptional case into the early 90s even. And that's going to be your trade on the washout. And that should see a lot of crap coins no longer be able to verify or justify their costs of maintaining an exchange listing. And that clear out, which will break lots of fanboys of specific projects' hearts, is actually the best thing that could happen to the crypto industry. The fire, the grass grows, in Africa we have a saying, the grass grows greener after the bushveld fire. Yeah? You clear out that undergrowth, you burn it all out, and then you get the best green grass afterwards. And that's what comes. So it's a step back to go 3 forward. You don't just go climb, climb, climb. Anyway, go and watch the mini series. It's designed for you, crypto traders, particularly. You're younger than the FX and the equity trader market on average. You can gain something. There's real multiples to your Bitcoin with no more than 4 key investment decisions made, potentially over a 2-year period, even up to that long. You can make 5 to 6. You can be a little more active if you want. You don't have to be on the screens trading full time. At the moment, we are expecting an easing in the overall crypto market cap. It's going to be more difficult for the total market cap 2, which is the alts one. Let me see if I've got it here for you, and I'll do a final little run past that before I let you go. Total market cap never really had much of a bull market, guys. Up to there, back down to here. Yes, this is a little falling wedge. You might get a little dink, and you're all going to say, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. You might get a little dink. You might push a little bit higher. You might have the dominance come off a little bit. I'm seeing this. It looks like Ethereum as well. You may get that little bit of a push there. See, all my stuff is on there, including the fibs, but you didn't get beyond the 23.6 on the rally. You might get a little dip through out the bottom, but it is weak. It really didn't have the bull market. The bull market actually was Bitcoin. Now that's total, which has Bitcoin and the alt market, the underperforming. So the underperforming alts have pulled this chart a little bit down. And in actual fact, if you look at just Bitcoin, that has been the chart to have been in there. That is the chart you want to be in, not the aggregate of the two, and certainly not the alts. And until it changes, you want to stay with the trend, continuation until it changes. And as I've said, we haven't seen enough bleeding out of all of these alts. You want to have certain people that can't pay. They don't trade in enough on the exchanges. The exchanges start charging them to have their tokens listed, and they have to start opting out. You need that clean out. And I think that clean out will be very, very positive for the crypto market. You've got my message. Watch your mini series. There's a whole Acapulco sessions that I've done on different aspects, mindset. There's an element on charting. There's the 3 M's. There's in fact the 5 M's. The 7 great mistakes that traders make. It's all in there. Go watch the mini series and enjoy. That's it. It's a long video, but just reasserting for clarity where I'm at. Don't be pissed off because someone's calling bear on your baby. It's sometimes a good thing. There's no such thing as bad markets. There's just markets and you being badly positioned for that market. We're just here to try be well positioned on a probability-based assessment. I know nothing. I can just work probabilities. That doesn't mean I always will be accurate or that I will always be inaccurate. Okay, catch you later on the other side of this. Thanks for checking in. Share and like. It's a massive help for me. I do these free view. Depending on the traction I'm getting, I do more. If you share and like, I get more. There's a gold link. You can net invest in gold. Oh, by the way, this is a real important argument. Sorry, I almost terminated this and it's been a long video and I want to get this in. Remember, with Bitcoin, this has been going on while we've had the trade wars, real fear in the real economy, real fear in the real economy. USD JPY got suddenly very strong. It's the fear in the FX. This is stuff as crypto traders you may not know unless you follow me on the Market Snipe as well. We saw a lot of fear going on. Bitcoin should have continued to pump. Instead, it's treaded water at this 11, 10 grand to 13 grand range. Gold went $1,500. Yes, it's pulled back below that. Silver went through $17. Yes, it's also just pulled back a little bit. They're putting the genie back in the bottle now. They're probably testing their AI bots on the Great Reset. Let's cause some panic. Let's use the chief antagonist in chief, Mr. Trump, with Henry Kissinger typing in his tweets for him. China are currency manipulators, damn bastards. I'm going to raise tariffs, and if they don't do this and that, create the hype. Oh, it's all going to all fall down. The end of globalization and just, relative advantage of trade. All of us create the hype. See how everybody reacts. They're modeling us. It's an AI. You're an AI ant farm. We're all AI ant farm. And during all of this fear and loathing, apart from the fact that we'd already taken our bull market run, which was good, we haven't been able to go any further. Now it's getting toned down, it's being wound back, and the Fed is going to do more accommodation and everything. The genie's been put back in the bottle, and that is how far Bitcoin has got. How much more do you expect it to go? Relative stability when it should have been flying actually points to underlying weakness and potential for a pullback. Fundamentally, that's another reason as to why I assess it could go lower. Okay, too long a video. Hope you used it. Hope you enjoyed it. Share it. There's a buy gold monthly, even if you can only do $50. Bullion Vault link in the bottom. It's cheaper than Maloney and Shift. You store, it's 100% allocated, and you can get your own name put on your bars, buy username, you can collect, and that's another way of investing so that you're not just in electronic wealth building. If they go grid down, you also have hard assets. I would say that's smart, but it's not investment advice. I do it, and many of my community members do it with me. Bye for now and catch you later. Cheers, guys.